Welcome, Scorpio, to your in-depth weekly astrology overview and zodiac forecast for week commencing the 2nd of March for the ascendant, the sun, or the moon. I'm going to share with you, first of all, the big themes of the week. Then on screen, the event chart on Monday. I'll unpack that. It's always influential for the whole 7 days. I'll then go through each of the influences frame by frame to give you a clear picture of what you can expect for relationships, energy, finance, and work. I'm astrologer Patrick Arundel. A very warm welcome. If you've yet to subscribe to the channel, please do so now. Mars, your traditional ruler, is moving on Monday into the aquatic Pisces. But for you, that represents house 5, which can be very charismatic. Mars, of course, is about thrust. Over the next 6 weeks, you may want to be more active socially with the support of Mars, or more demonstrative. But on Tuesday, we do have a very powerful total lunar eclipse in the practical Virgo, which will provide a dynamic backdrop of energy for us all collectively over the next 6 months. What does it mean for you? At the heart of this week, Scorpio, you could enjoy some real serendipity. I'll share with you why. We also see Venus, the relator, but the money planet, move into a practical area at the end of this week and does merge with the mystical Neptune, but also connects to the cool Saturn. What's the implication? On the screen is your event chart. As ever, first of all, we need to look at your two rulers. Pluto continues his journey right at the root of your chart. So, for many Scorpios, you will be encountering and have been for a few years big changes to where you live, how you live there, who with, or changes deep within your emotional compass. Now, Mars, your traditional ruler, has been in this area just shy of 6 weeks and may have given you extra dynamism to make some physical changes to where you live. If you're someone who's very keen on do it yourself or you work from home, Mars has been an asset. But at the end of last week, Mars clashed badly with Uranus exactly on Friday. And if there is tension between you and someone you're close to, perhaps they expect a lot of you, perhaps they're very unpredictable in their demands. Perhaps it's a romantic relationship that you're uncertain around. That energy is coming into this week, despite Mars about to move later on Monday. But the moon in Leo interacts with that right angle between Uranus and Mars. And the moon being so high in the sky is going to make it, even for someone like you, who can be private about your own feelings, it could make it more difficult to disguise them right at the start of the week. But then Mars does move later on Monday. And although the host, Pisces, doesn't really provide a very clear pathway for Mars itself, for you, the fifth house is terrific, especially if you are interested in performance, amateur dramatics, playing music, just having fun, or you want to engender more excitement around your social life. Mars gives you more thrust. But in that area, Mercury does continue to retrograde. So even if there is the potential to connect with people, there may also be last minute changes of plan. Now, Venus is here as well, and unlike Mars, forges a very helpful link to Uranus. If you are open to connection in a romantic context, you may find it's you who makes the first move with that contact between Uranus and Venus, especially if you encounter someone who's just got a sparkling charisma about them that just you find to be alluring but also somewhat irresistible. Now, if you are in an existing relationship, one of the things you can use Venus in that uh, sextile with Uranus is to do something completely different. If things have become a little workaday and samey, a great opportunity to be more spontaneous. Now, on Tuesday, the total lunar eclipse occurs in Virgo, which for you is the 11th house. So the moon is going to move there and will be in an opposition with the sun, both at 12 degrees. What's the implication? Well, the 11th house is almost like your higher purpose. And as much as, for example, if you're in a romantic tie at the moment or you've got a lively social group, if you don't really see where this is heading for the long term, or the people you're connecting with are not quite your celestial cup of tea, that lunar eclipse could ask you to realign your use of energy and time over the next half year. But as the week goes on, the sun moves forwards and comes into a trine with Jupiter. And in astrology, that's one of the most fortunate aspects we can have throughout a year. Now, they just happen to be both in water signs, which is more about emotion, and Jupiter is the traditional ruler of the sign of Pisces, so there is a mutual receptivity, so that's good. Jupiter has been tracking backwards for 4 months. It's going to go direct on the 11th of March. Please look out for my deep dive for Scorpio for that at that time. But it is in a part of your chart to do with travel, the big picture, history, um, maybe go into places that have some kind of architecture or, you know, some heritage to them. If you do decide to link with someone, even if it's a friend, and do something positive, just off the cuff together, it could turn out to be a very pleasurable time. But it also means that if you've got anything to teach or share in terms of knowledge, you can do so with great enthusiasm between the fifth and ninth house, Sun and Jupiter. And it can, if you have got the confidence to be more spontaneous, it could see you have a stroke of fortune and it could be around a relationship. The fifth house can also be about speculation. If you've got the confidence to do something bold, with Jupiter also being about luck, well, it really could be just your time. But then, of course, later in the week, Venus does move forwards. It merges on Friday with Neptune, and then in turn, by the end of the week, with Saturn. And that sixth house energy is a very different vibe to these players in the fifth house. But if you are being very artistic and showing a lot of flair, what Venus moving to join up with these two can do is help you to convert any ideas you've got into something more tangible, and that can be a good thing. If, however, a relationship isn't working quite so well, and there's part of you that feels your life is lacking joyfulness, and that total lunar eclipse makes you think, I don't see a future in that situation, just being frank, Venus aligning with Saturn will make it in the sixth house almost impossible to think beyond the things you are finding tricky, because the sixth house is very much about the detail, not the big picture. So just be conscious of that. It doesn't mean to say it will certainly end. Only a relationship which is really bumping along the bottom will be prized apart by Venus supplying to Saturn. But if you are creative, it's just saying you need to convert talent into structure. To understand what the rest of March holds for you, please click on the monthly video. To understand what the total lunar eclipse brings for you over the next 6 months, please click on that video. And if you would like to have a one-to-one with me, please check out my testimonials below. You can also take advantage of my unique offer of your personal forecast and life roadmap report, totally unique to you. And at the checkout, please apply Astro 26 and you'll get 50% off. If you'd like to understand more about the draconic version of those charts, very much to do with your soul karmic journey, please apply Draco 26 at the checkout.